Well, to all my loyal and faithful travel subscribers out there, I leave for Svalbard in about 2 weeks, so stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of Svalbard and Norway vids and pictures coming in. Okay, here's the old Moun detector, which I'm going to plug in here. And we're going to plug this in here in a second, as soon as I get it the right way in there. And you can hear it clicking. That's just background radiation. All this about the Moun detector is explained in my first video, which I'll put a description down at the bottom in the text portion of this vid. So I advise you to look at that video first, because we're not going to talk too much about this. And the light that lights up, well, you're not going to see it. I mean, if it detects a Moun, it'll only light up for a split second, beep, beep. So it's not going to go beep, light up. You're going to see it. So, like I said in the first video, you can't sit here and watch it. So I wanted to make a something that was going to have like a OLED here and a clock, and it's going to have a Arduino Nano, and it's going to keep track of that, and it's going to show up on here a number of different things. So in the meantime, so we don't have to listen to this, we're going to turn this guy off because we've already talked about him. See the other video. Put that guy off to the side. It's working fine. That has no sketches or anything. It's all hardware stuff here. So now we have this guy here, and this is what I made up on a little breadboard here, and I figured I'd try it out first. And it's got the DS3231, which is this guy up here, and let's see if you can see that there. I don't know. Yeah, there's a DS3231. It does have a CR2032 battery in the back of it there, and yeah, we got the OLED here. But as I said earlier, when I tried to program this, and just to first phase of the file one is, let's see if I can just get the OLED working and the clock working first of all. So you saw earlier I loaded the code. Okay, here we're in my main computer on the Arduino folder. We go to this subfolder here, we open that up, and we have our sketch in there, the INO file. We're going to open that up here, and yeah, click on that, and it's a little small here, so we'll have to readjust the screen. And yeah, you'll see at the top he has DS3232. At the bottom he's got 3231. I think that top one was just a typo there that he had. But this is what I got from the internet. You got the clock date set time, which pulls it from the main computer when the sketch is compiled and loaded to the Arduino Nano. And here's the rest of it. You want to take a closer look, you can stop the video or slow the video down to peruse that and see how it looks. It goes on and on. And like I said, I didn't make this up. I got this from a kind person that had a video on YouTube. So now we're going to load this up to the Arduino Nano, and there it is. We're getting the green bar here. Everything's looking good, and yeah, and everything, it looks like I said it worked out okay. I didn't get any error messages or anything there. So let's see what it looks like now. Okay, and of course I'm reloading it into my Arduino Nano here, and it's coming up. Everything's looking good there. I like the colors on this here and the way it's laid out on OLED. Now I'm going to unplug it from the master computer. Okay. Had the right time, but when I unplugged it from the computer and plugged it back in. Okay, now we waited a few minutes, and we're just going to plug it back in to just a plain old power outlet, one of these ones over here. Let's plug this in. And it's coming up. And what does it say here? It says 827. No, it's not the correct time. It's 8:37 here, and it still shows 8:27 if I can get this a little closer there. So it didn't keep the time in there because it's on the clock here. It's 8:37 or 8:38 now, and we're still showing 8:27 on there from when I unplugged it from the computer after I loaded the sketch in there. So it's not maintaining time. Like I said, I got the battery in there. I took the resistor and the diode off of the DS3231. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong here, but it's not working the way I wanted it here. It's a simple thing here. Why isn't it working? I don't know. To power, it just picked up where it left off on the time. So we're going to plug it back in here. And I always try to plug it in the wrong way first. That's the way life is here, I guess. So let's see here. So it's coming up. And it says, oh, 8:27 is where I left off. And it's way past 8:27 now here. So I don't know what's going on here. I tried everything there's on here. I don't know if you can see it. I have close-up pictures, which I maybe might insert here or something on the screen. But there's a diode and a resistor that, from what I can tell, my extensive research, that was for if you had a rechargeable battery in the back. But we don't have that. We have just a plain old ordinary battery. Why deal with the rechargeable ones? This one will last for years here. So I took those off, and everybody said, oh, now it's working fine. It's keeping time when you unplug it and then plug it back in, and it'll still have the current time. Well, it doesn't. So I don't know. And somebody said, well, take that battery out, replace it with another one. Well, I tested this battery. It's still good. I don't think I ruined it. I'm going to try that after this, and if it works, I'll come back and tell you, but I don't think it's going to work. But anyhow, so what we're going to do is we're just going to test the current going across here. We're going to take the battery out, and just for you electronic folks that know way more about this than me, we're going to take a look at that. So hold on here a second. Okay, now I took the battery out. I'm going to set that aside here. I'm going to plug this bad boy back in. I always get it the wrong way. Plug that back in. It's going to fire back up again here. And it's still going to have the same old time where it just left off a few minutes ago, which is definitely not the correct time here. So time is going way past that. I got my multimeter out here. We'll set that, and I'll try to turn this around here if I can without it falling on the floor here. And it's a little hard to see on the vid. Well, the battery, when it goes in, the top part is the plus and the bottom part is the negative. So those two little prongs in here on the inside of that is the negative here. So let's see if I can get that. And it's plugged in, so there's the negative, there's the positive, and it's getting about almost nothing, which it should when it's plugged in. Well, there it is there. You can see on there. I don't know if you can see really well, but I'm going to try it again here so you can see a little bit better. And trying to hold it steady here. So it's hardly anything coming through, which is the way it should be there. Okay. All right. Now, let's unplug this, and we're going to put the battery back in. Okay, it is unplugged here, and we have the battery back in the back. And actually, it's a little hard to see here, but the pins that may not be in focus, that is the positive, and this is the negative. Let's see. I'm trying to do this backwards here. I'm not very good on the vid here. So that's I'll take a picture of it and put it in there, show you which one's a positive and negative. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to put the multimeter, which we have here, and see if I can do this. Need to get in here and see if I can get this in here, and so that's the positive, and see it should be, if I can just touch those, they're very small and tiny, and it's 3.3 volts if you can see there. So the battery looks like it's good. It's 3.33 volts, which is what you want. So like I said, with this board unplugged here, the battery says, you know, it's doing that pretty good. So I don't know why it's not keeping time here. So who knows? Got a problem here. All right. Okay, originally my lofty goals, and you know, I'm 76 years old. I didn't know much about Arduinos until like just around when COVID hit, when I started to find out, well, what is this? I bought a few electronic kits, and but I really didn't have to do any sketches. And it's like the Moun Detector didn't need any sketches. It's all hardware. So that's why that one works. But now in here, my lofty goal was to have on the OLED, I wanted it to show the date, what day of the week it is, the date, and the hours, and the current hours, minutes, and seconds. And of course, when I would load this into this here with the clock, I have to unplug it from the computer, take it somewhere else, maybe have a cup of coffee in the meantime, and figure where I'm going to keep the Moun Detector plugged in for, you know, months or weeks or something here, and see, well, where's a good spot for it? And then by the time I plug it back in, well, the time isn't right. It's lost. It just picks up where I left off. So, and because that's what I wanted to show. If that were working good, then I would have to figure out how to put this on the screen, which wouldn't be too hard. It's just verbiage. But then I'd have to figure out how it's going to keep track of how many muons in the last 24 hours, how many in the last 7 days, and how many in the last 30 days. Keep a running count here. So this count would always change. Every time you get another muon, this count would just be increasing. And this would be in the last 24 hours. So it would show a lesser number, and this would be a lesser number, and that would be a lesser number, and this would be the grand total here, because that's the way it is. But I researched tons of videos. I don't know how many videos I watched on YouTube, and went to the Arduino forum and this and that, and everybody's way more advanced than me, and they're asking me questions that I don't have answers for. So anyhow, I have to lower my goals here. So let's just see, maybe I can just get rid of the clock here because it's not working. And I'll keep this on this breadboard here and try to sort it out as a side project. But let's say if I just want to put the OLED and an Arduino, which I have room on the Moun Detector on that breadboard over there to put everything on there. And let's say I just want to show muon count on the OLED. That should be pretty easy. That's just verbiage. And it's just going to have, you know, a running count. It's going to have, you know, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, and then 2 and 3. So if I go down a couple of days from now, it'll show, I don't know, 100. And then I go down there a few more days after that, it'll show maybe 175 or whatever. And then I can say, well, since I turned this on, you know, make a little note next to it, since, you know, in the last 2 weeks I've counted XX amount of muons. I don't know, 300, 400, 1,000, whatever. So that's the goal right now. It's just that. Let's tackle that first, see if I can get that working. So anybody out there that has some help on that, and it should be pretty easy because we get our old back here, and if we look in here, this pink wire here is already coming out from this chip. I forget what it is. I think it's a 7408 that's already telling, you know, keeping track of when both of these at exactly the same time detects a muon. Then it sends a signal out to this pink wire. Pink wire goes back over here to this line, which goes to this resistor. The only reason the resistor is there is for the LED, to make the right voltage or whatever. So this, I believe, would be 5 volts coming in here. Resistor is going to tone it down to like 3.2 or whatever the light is. So I already have, coming out. So I should just be able to put in another wire on this same line here and take that and run it over to another Arduino Nano that I'm going to put in here. Pick out one of these pins and say, here's the input coming from here. Every time you see I guess you'd call it a pulse. I don't know if it's going to be a high pulse. I think so. Or a low. Count it and display it on the screen. So that seems pretty simple. I don't know how to do that. I don't know about this. I'm just really basic in sketches here. So I need to take a class somewhere. There's a lot of online courses. But if you're not in there with somebody else, I need a mentor on this. I need a high school kid or something to help me out with this and whatever. So that's the story. So is there any way I can do that? Because like I said, it's already coming out. I already have this. I don't need any other special gizmos or anything to get that pulse coming out of here. I just need to put another wire into there where this 5 volts is coming out. Every time the muon is detected, it sends a pulse out here. And it goes ding. All right, sending that current, that 5 volt current through the resistor and light up the LED. So why not? Because this is set to the positive side of the LED here. So just take a wire from that, get another Nano, which I have a number of them, put one of these pins over there, reroute this, take the clock off, and put that on. How am I going to do that? Help, help, help. Need some help. All I'm looking for is that. All right, thanks.